Because you guys are locked down through July in California?
They said another 3 months. So, and that was, I mean, it could even be through till August.
Okay.
I think it was early May. They said another 3 months.
I saw that news, and then we released the opposite. So it's just no one knows what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, it's all crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it'll be interesting to see how the different strategies obviously end up playing out.
That's right.
Hopefully,
that's right.
Not for the worse, but
yeah, probably somewhere in the middle, as always.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's more just for LA, because they didn't say that for up here in the Bay Area as far.
Oh, was it? Okay, so that was okay.
It's a local thing.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize that.
Because even Orange County has been a little looser with their restrictions than LA. LA seems to be, I mean, and they've had the most cases and deaths anyway, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Just more scale or density or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah. Dallas County is a little bluer, not as blue as Austin, but the mayor is saying that we need to stay shut down, and the governor Abbott is saying we need to open back up. So it's kind of funny to see the tussle.
Yeah, push and pull.
You don't know who's right, but see.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome to get started if you'd like. We've got about 20 who've joined.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name's Tyler, and we've got Gabe here as well.
Hey, Gabe here from San Francisco, TRI San Francisco.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We thought it'd be a good idea to get all the Next Gen people together and, basically just have an open conversation about how you all are dealing with the times that we're in right now, and thought it would be interesting to see how all the different markets are sort of responding, obviously, and have a couple questions and things that we can sort of discuss openly. And obviously, as you can see on the slide now, hopefully many of you can see that, we have some objectives, obviously the Next Gen Committee. I think some of you are new, so thanks again for joining. And ultimately, I want to encourage the younger generation of brokers to get involved and network. And if you haven't joined any of the conferences yet, we have lunches and different events that we have for all the younger guys, which is fun. Lower fees apparently and different stipends that you're able to qualify for. And I don't know, Gabe, if you want to start with some of the questions or get some things going.
I'll probably add a little bit about the CORFAC event. I've been to about 4 different CORFAC meetings that pretty good information gets shared there, good networking. It's always good to, especially here in San Francisco, sometimes we have clients in other places, so it's always good to actually meet some of the brokers in different locations, hand to hand and face to face. And so when you have a requirement for a client, you could be able to know, like, you have these cards on your desk saying, all right, I could share this information because I met them at the CORFAC in Chicago, or I met them at the CORFACs in Mexico, like the last one. So definitely a good opportunity to kind of get out there and network amongst the other people there. I'll go right into the questions. How are you showing your work to senior agents in these challenging times? This was a question that I kind of wanted to share with everybody on the call. There are, since we are mostly Next Gen agents here and there, which I was trying to figure out a way to make yourself, not to say useful, but make yourself active as far as some of the older agents that been in the game for about 20, 30 years. They're not staying in contact with their clients as much as they should. So that's kind of a good kind of way to stay active during this COVID time and be able to communicate with some past clients that some of them might not have talked to and things like that, and share information like that. I don't know, Todd, you have anything to add to that portion?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this time it sort of come up in a later question, but it's been a great time to just check in with clients and owners and not always make it about, what sort of requirements they might have right now, but just check in, see how their businesses are doing, see, and ultimately sharing market information. I feel like one thing that I've tried to contribute not only to my senior partner, but also our office. We have weekly conference calls where we typically check in and kind of let everybody know what's going on, just to share market information and be aware of, obviously, the tenants that are either expanding and need more space right now, or others that might have space coming available, at least on the industrial side of things, which I specialize in. I guess we expect a decent amount of space to be coming available for sublease kind of in the next coming months. And so being aware of what spaces are going to be coming available, or on the flip side, what tenants may be looking for some space. And a lot of it seems to be short-term or flexible requirements right now. That seems to be very helpful in sharing that information and, providing some of that real-time information to obviously owners, but also senior partners and other people in the office.
And also too, this is kind of an open discussion as well. So if any other brokers that's on this call have any comments to those questions, feel free to chime in, and if you have any good tips and things to help out everybody else on here. But the next one, what's your strategic work and don't work in this current climate? I was talking with Tyler before we actually started on this call about, having the kind of, a soft way to kind of get back in the good, or, communicate with your owners and tenants too, instead of just kind of going out, hey, do you need sublease? Hey, do you want to sell? Are you looking for space? Kind of go in soft, like, hey, how you doing? How's your family? How's homeschool going and things like that? How's our business opening? What stage are you in on opening up and things like that? So kind of a soft kind of introduction through email or phone, or even LinkedIn message, Facebook messaging, and things like that. Kind of soft the bridge of kind of going to see how their business been going, because it is a difficult time. We all are working from home, and all of our business have been kind of turned upside down from 2 months ago. So just a softer way to kind of communicate.
Right. I've had a lot of success with it. I guess unsurprisingly, it seems like tenants are very interested in what other tenants in the market are doing, what they're experiencing, what other businesses are experiencing. And then same on the landlord side, they're curious what other landlords are doing, how they're dealing with tenants asking for rent relief. And so just calling clients and sharing a lot of that information has been great. I mean, very good responses from a lot of the investors and landlords that I've called, and clients, and even have gotten calls back from clients saying, hey, thanks for checking in. And by the way, I have a friend who is looking for some space, and I gave him your information. So, I mean, that's obviously, one of the goals of keeping in touch with clients is for getting new business and maintaining business. Yeah, I'd encourage anybody who isn't doing it to try to get as much information as you can from any existing clients you may have, and just share that information in whatever way it's applicable to, to other tenants and owners. And it seems to go a long way. I don't know if anyone's wants to chime in on success they've had with that or any experiences, but that's been a great thing to do, especially right now.
I'll jump in. After the CCIM video presentation we had maybe 2 weeks ago, I took some notes and wrote down the 5 to 10 best points I could find, and I sent them on to my 5 best clients, and then the 5 I guess top prospects. I got responses from all my clients, obviously, and they seemed to like the information. And then one of the prospects did respond. He didn't need anything, but I had never gotten him to respond before then. So I think it's just, again, get some relevant data, like you said, be a little bit more friendly rather directly to the point of selling, but just look learned and caring is a great strategy in this environment.
absolutely.
And Tyler, I would add, since most of the people I think on this call usually haven't been on the past calls, just to piggyback on what Joe was saying, that session that Joe was referring to, in addition to the other 5 or 6 prior to that, have all been recorded, and the slides are available on the CORFAC resources. So if anybody on this call wants to go take a peek at those, see whether there might be stuff good there to share with clients or the office or what have you, they're available.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jonathan.
You want to do the next one, or you want me to go into the next one, Tyler?
Yeah, sure. So the next question we have is, what's the best advice you've received from a senior agent or a mentor or someone else in the business on how to survive and thrive throughout differing market conditions? I'd say one thing that has been brought up by the president of Klaben Company, David Pryor, is, and it's something that he's stressed before, is especially for younger people, younger agents, is having savings. I mean, there's this business obviously is, goes through its ups and downs, and there can be some dry periods. And so he's always stressed the younger guys in my offices to make sure you have a decent amount of savings available to get you through these times. And part of that is obviously being able to, get through it, because if you can, you'll sort of come out stronger on the other end. And being, I guess, some of the other advice that goes along with it is being a great source of information. We sort of just touched on this, to landlords. And if you're around and able to provide them with information on the market, what other tenants are doing, what other landlords are doing, they'll remember that. And you'll be someone that they look to when things get better to, lease buildings or get more information, and the opportunities continue to be there. So.
One thing I wanted to add to that, Ed out of our office, Ed is our president here in San Francisco. He sends about maybe 3 or 4 emails in the morning time, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, to the whole company. And he just kind of dished them out. And I sometimes talk to him about that strategy, to where you can just send out information and articles to your clients every day. And even if you get, 1 or 2 replies back, that's, still good. You're on the top of their inbox. They're not saying, please stop emailing me. Just a general email just saying, hey, this is the current PPP loan stipulations, or this is what phase 2 is going to start. Just random information, because some people might want to see, and if it's at the top of their inbox on the morning time, they actually like to read that, and they remember, they're getting these emails every day or every other day and things like that. It's kind of, giving out information on LinkedIn through email blasts and things like that is a good way to, and also to, with the saving atmosphere, I'm sure most of the people on this call is the next gen, so they probably weren't agents in 2008, maybe some just starting. So we're all in this together. This is my first cycle. I've been an agent for about 6 years. So we got to listen to these strategies to kind of get around these times and things like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, I've only experienced the market continuing to get better and better every year. I got into business 2012 or so. Yeah, and so every year it's just gotten better and better, and have heard, of the ups and downs in the market. So this is sort of the first time to experience, a downturn in a way. Hopefully it's not going to be as drawn out as it was, back in 2008 and 2009. But obviously the market's affected, and businesses are affected, and it's going to be an interesting time coming out of this, and nobody really knows how long it's going to last for. So,
yeah.
Unless anyone else has anything they want to share.
Yeah, any pointers or anything like that?
I'll pipe up. I started in 08, 09, so this is number 2 for me. And just to kind of piggyback up your guys' points, it's you want to keep your overhead as low as possible for long as possible. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a numbers game, where in 08, I felt like I had to make 400, 500 calls to make a deal. And in this last cycle, it was maybe 100, 150. So it was much tougher. And it's just, you really, really need to hook up with a senior partner and lean on them. The wealth of knowledge they have from being in the business 10, 20, 30 years it really steepens your learning curve and really gets you ramped up a lot quicker than you would be if you were alone. So I think just overhead low and having a senior partner, female, male, which obviously doesn't matter, but it just really the two biggest things that really helped me.
Absolutely. So I guess speaking of senior agents, or now we're on to the next question for marketing and social media. How are you marketing right now? What platforms are you using to effectively reach your targets? We're lucky enough to have a marketing team in our office, so they're very good about posting deals, completed deals, and we have some marketing information that we put together really every quarter, and blasting those things on Facebook and Instagram, as well as different LinkedIn posts. And right now, recently, our office has been doing like broker spotlights. I think that's what they're called, where we'll have one broker sort of highlighted every month, with a little biography, a little background information, and seems to be a well-received thing, and just obviously kind of getting to know clients and people that are following us on those different platforms a little bit better on a personal level. And obviously at the same time, wanting to make sure we highlight the successful deals that we've had and closings. And I know my senior partner and I right now are working on getting out a mass mailer, trying to send people actual mail, with some information related to COVID-19 and also some market information, but trying to be less market driven and more just kind of what we've talked about, checking in on how businesses are going, and wanting to be a source of information, really, right now.
To add to that point, I'll just jotting down some notes that you had. Different marketing platform. We do have social media backing through our company at TRI. And we also have our marketing staff still in the office, well, not in the office, but still producing out flyers, BLVs that some of the agents do have out. Turnaround is a little bit slower because, they're not in their normal habitat, but, gotta do what you kind of got to do during this time. Also, too, mailers as well, too. I'm sending out about 500 mailers literally tomorrow that I have to do myself because I'm not in the office right now with my secretary or, somebody. We don't have the postcard machine at the office because nobody can work it out. So, I'm watching Ozark at nighttime, folding some mailers, but, you kind of got to do what you got to do here. Hey, and then social media platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Depending on what I'm sending out will be a little bit different on what platform. Facebook has the most people on there, so that's kind of the best information kind of get out there. LinkedIn is pretty good as well too, but I kind of what I like to do is kind of like and share other agent stuff as well too, just because it's like a simple like will go to your timeline and share their information. So I definitely encourage, if you guys got other agents in your office that on social media, make sure you just like it and reshare. Just a quick like, don't do too much, but it goes off to all your 500, 600 network and things like that too. So you never know, you might get a message like, hey, do you know this agent? I'm interested in that space. Let's go look at it. So that's a good technique that I kind of like with LinkedIn there.
And if I could just add something, Tyler and Gabe, real quick. So for those on the call who maybe aren't as comfortable talking, there is a chat feature at the bottom of the screen. So if you have a question, we can monitor those and we can bring it up to the group. Number two, you've got some really good people on CORFAC staff, Christy and Jennifer, who can help in the marketing and social media area if you need that. We also have Patricia, who is a consultant for CORFAC for 30 hours a month, who can help you, get to the right contacts in different media outlets within your local market. And not that I want to put Allison Terranova on the spot, but I see she's on the call. And Allison, I don't know, is there anything that you're doing special these days with Patterson Woods that you want to share as far as marketing and social media?
Sure. The newest thing for me, I've been teaching myself how to video edit, and I'm starting to do more of a virtual tour video for our properties. So that's newer for me, learning that program. I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro. started a YouTube channel. So I've learned from other people that video marketing is definitely the way to get the most views right now. So I'm working on that.
I would say to add to what Allison said, I remember Phil from Phoenix had a feature that he talked about, I think in either Arizona or this past Mexico CORFAX, about an app you could buy for your phone that you could pretty much type out prompts that will roll on your screen, and it doesn't look like you're actually reading. So it's kind of a good way to do video tours. I just forgot the app. I can maybe send it a little bit later. I'm trying to go through my phone and see if I can find it. But it's not where you can just literally just look at your phone like I'm looking here, but have a scroll rolling down the side where you could read. So if you're talking about a space, there's 20 feet, square feet, used for retail or stuff like that. And you could just be able to read it and kind of go down smoothly. So I'm sure there's a couple of different apps, but that'll be a good app to kind of download if you're doing more video tours and things like that.
Just to jump in quickly for a second, Gabe, that was in Scottsdale, and we do on the CORFAC extranet in the toolbox, there is a section called technology tools, and all of the tools that we talked about during that conference, including that app that you're referring to, are listed in there. So people can go, and maybe we could send a link out to when we send out the recap of this, that's got that app and some of the other tools that were talked about.
That'd be great.
Jonathan, this is Cole. If I could chime in for a second. We have Dominic Cannon and John Hines in our office that are Next Gens on the call, and I wanted to pick their brains and find out what they've been doing as far as, virtual tours and what they've been doing with social media. So if you guys can chime in, let us know what you guys are working on.
Yeah, we have also, as Christy was just saying, we have also started.
Is that Cannon?
Yeah, this is Cannon, sorry. We have also started implementing the videos of our spaces on our brochures. That's something that seems to be requested a lot more recently, and it's also helped us, obviously, with the showings. It gives people a good initial look. It saves us a lot of time. It lets people see the space and get a good idea of it before we actually go out there. Other different things we've been getting involved in, LinkedIn, that seems to be a growing presence and something that we've been trying to get involved in more in getting our accounts up to date. I'm trying to think of some other things in terms of our marketing. We've really just spent this time, like I said, just to really update all of our brochures and kind of get them, make sure everything's up to date and on point. John, anything else?
Yeah, I can. Like you said, making sure that we have videos of the spaces, because in today's world with all this stuff going on, people don't really want to go and do a walkthrough. They want to be able to just sit at home in their pajamas and take a look at a perspective place. So if they have the ability to do that and kind of get an accurate representation of the thing that you're marketing, it's advantageous to take the time and make sure that you go ahead and do that. So
yeah, videos of futures. It's going to be hard to even continue and put yourself in front if you don't have a video right now. So video is definitely the new normal right now.
Yeah, our office has been doing more of that. We had like a video or two, maybe within the last year, but then in the last month, I think we've put out a lot more for some of our active listings, and then even one of the people on our administrative team got their license for drone, flying, and so that's been awesome. I'm excited to start using that more and more now that we have someone in house that can do that.
Yeah, we have someone out in San Francisco that does drone work. I don't know, Cole, if you have anybody out there in Sacramento for drone.
I think we do. I think there's a couple people. I think Tyler's one who does research in our brochures, and I think Dominic. Do you have a drone that you fly as well? He's in our Roseville office.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we have a couple.
Cool.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into the media, social media platform strategies and finding effect. What strategies, tips, and tools are you using more than before than COVID? Of course, what we're on right now, Zoom. I'm probably doing a Zoom call maybe 3 or 4 times a week. A lot more video as well too, like we were just talking as well. Just kind of having more visual effects. And I mean, it saved time as well too. Instead of getting out there and showing a property, you just take a real detailed video and more photos to because people don't want to get out there and actually view people in actual real time and actually view it themselves because of COVID. So the videos and pictures kind of help as well too. So definitely a lot more videos, a lot more photos as well too, and just different communication ways to be able to communicate with your team and be able to communicate with clients as well.
Right. Yeah, we've been using like Microsoft Teams a lot more, and I feel like it's going to sort of transfer into even when things open back up and offices open back up. We'll probably still use a lot of that just to share information and have more organization on how we're, marketing properties and the activity we're getting. And even strategy wise, we sort of touched on it before, but I would always put off calling clients from the past that, maybe leased a building months or years ago, and it's easy to not, keep in touch with those people as regularly. But this has been a great excuse for me to actually go through lists of clients and past deals and check in with people. And it's been, unsurprisingly effective, and good feedback and just been well worth the time to just call and check in with people, so it's motivation for me at least to continue doing that, even again, when things sort of get back to normal.
Yeah, and about the calling thing, I'll probably talk about that with the next topic, with the cold calling topic. But also too, especially what we said earlier about kind of teaming up with older agents. Some of these older agents, 30 years in, are not as computer savvy as we are as the next gen people, to say it softly. So that would be a good strategy to, team up with somebody that, don't really know how to use these different features on their phone and on their computers, and show them that these are good ways to kind of communicate with your clients. And, you being a little bit more younger and a little bit easier to accepting new technologies would be a great source. You just want to make yourself useful and figure out ways to, show value, because at the end of the day, what value are you going to bring versus different agents now? So now that, the market is kind of changing and people are trying to figure out ways to make money, you just got to figure out what way are you going to stand out versus your competition. So.
Hey everyone, just want to touch base on that. So one thing we're doing at WCRE, we created a resource page, so small businesses can go to a tab we have for resources for PPP loans and other resources that may not be real estate related. And I can say for our website, it drove activity from, I think, 300 to 500 visits a day to 2,000 visits a day. So continuing to just be a value add resource. If there's not an immediate real estate need, we're trying to help our community as much as we can. So it's a great way to stay active, stay engaged, and gives you another conversation to have.
Yeah. So were you like sending out an email to your client list just to make people aware that you had that information on your website with kind of a link to direct people there, or how did you make people aware of your website having that?
Yeah, so we did send out a email blast to everyone on our email list, but we also, we advertise it all over our social media. Okay. And that's really the point of our messages. We really just want to be a value add to the community, and it seems to be received very well. So it's a great way to stay in front of people and stay engaged.
That's great. I mean, yeah, I know we sort of touched on it again earlier. Is a lot of the tenants that I've worked with have called asking for, information on exactly that, what the cities that they're in are offering for rent deferment or just information. So having a site like that you can direct people to is great. That's a good idea.
Good idea.
One thing that we've done on our website as well is put a list of our restaurant clients or small business clients that are open right now for takeout or delivery, just to support them and just show that they're still open.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's also another reason to email blast and keep your name in front of people. Just sharing information like that is definitely great reason.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? Well, I'll start this one. This is why cold call, warm call, pretty much what Tyler was just saying as well too. Just kind of communicating with these different people and different clients and different owners. Just pick up the phone and different format of just instead of emailing and sending messages on social media, just pick up the phone and a little bit more warmer call and having those conversations and saying, hey, how are you doing, and how things are looking in your neck of the woods, and how's your business kind of surviving in this different time. So people kind of like having those phone calls instead of just a email blast of saying, hey, this is what's going on here. Just a little bit more warm and soften up having that conversations, and people want to talk about the things that they're going through at the end of the day. So they'll remember having that 5-10 minute call with you versus just sending an email that they'll probably just go to the trash anyway. So definitely good.
Yeah, I haven't done as much cold calling now as I normally would, but I have been doing so warm calls obviously with clients or prospects that I've spoken with in the past. But even I guess the extent of cold calling that I think is effective right now is and always is really calling with a purpose, and I try to always have relevant information to share, and typically that's based on a new listing or some information of, a building next door coming available. And obviously that's an easy reason to call people, to not necessarily, see if they need the space, but use that as a piece of information to share, and then sort of segue that into how their business is doing, how they've been in this time. And that's always typically how I get the most success and the best response, at least from cold calling or warm calling. And I think especially right now with everything the way that it is, that's the way to do it.
Before, I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in, but my experience right now, as far as just doing calls, is people are a little bit, I guess, especially when it started, they didn't want to get these cold calls as much as they used to, because people don't know what's going on, what is the future going to hold for their business and for their family. So that's why just kind of more of a warm call. Clients that you already sold or leased out space to, just kind of checking in, leaving voicemails, like, hey, this is Gabriel, and I'm just calling to see how's everything with your business, how's your family doing, hope all is well. And if they call back, they might message you back and things like that. So just but cold call, my experience lately hasn't been too receptive to a brand new client, but I have been checking in with some of my past clients, just kind of see who's been paying rent. I'm more of a multifamily broker, but who's paying rent, what's the percentage you're getting rent, as far as leasing, how's your leasing tenants and things like that as well too. So different.
So
I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead, whoever that was.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, cold calling, I think, is a lot different than it was 3-4 months ago. I think emotions are a little different than, beginning of the year, but I just try to keep it as human as possible, and try and engage really what they're doing with their business. Are they open? What are their immediate needs for real estate? But like, what else is just going on with their life and their business? I mean, I think having a little human side now more than ever, I think is very important, and very important in the conversations you're having.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. I'd be curious, sort of off topic, but curious in different markets, if anybody's willing to sort of chime in on if they've had a lot of clients, tenants ask for rent relief from landlords, and any success you've had with that. I know in LA, seems to be private and more, local landlords that might own a building or two seem to be a little bit more receptive to giving tenants relief, or at least working with them. Some of the institutional landlords, not as much. I think Prologis said that they had, about a month ago, had given about 7% of those that have asked for relief, actual relief, but expected overall to have maybe up to 30% where they would work with on that side. I don't know if anyone's had kind of positive or negative stories with that or experiences.
I have a couple. We represent about 1 million square feet in Dallas, and I think about 9 of them out of 60 tenants. It's flex industrial, ask for rent relief, and I believe it was 2, 3, or 4 were granted. Some were deferment, some were relief, depending on the credit of the tenant. Eddie Gildeson, who was at the CORFAC conference in Mexico, his family owns an office building in Dallas, and the story was the same, where 7 or 8 out of 60 tenants asked for rent relief, and 1 or 2 were granted either deferment or relief. And then on the tenant side, we've helped 2 or 3 tenants, and like you said, the more entrepreneurial the landlord, the better chance you have of getting some rent relief rather than either deferment or nothing. So there was one client where both, 2 locations, 1 client, and both were entrepreneurial, and we were able to get them 2 or 3 months free rather than deferment or nothing.
Oh, wow. That's great. I mean, yeah, I feel like most of what I've experienced or heard of is more deferment of 2 to 3 months worth, and then a payback schedule following that, over the term of the lease, or over 6 months or whatever. But that's interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious. I'm more on the retail and office side too. It seems like those obviously have been affected the most by this. But I think we can move on to the next question. How are you adding value and reinforcing your existing client relationships? So we've sort of, touched on this already, but great response and appreciation, at least with sharing with tenants and landlords what other tenants and landlords are doing, experiencing. I've had plenty of calls from tenants asking, for rent relief, and being able to share with them what other tenants have asked for, what other landlords have given. And then the same on the landlord side has been very helpful, and at least feel like you can add some sort of value to tenants right now who's really, that's really what they're dealing with, is figuring out how to pay rent, and any help they can get goes a long way. So just sharing that information and being aware of what's going on in different cities, counties, and what resources are available on that side too, has been good value to add. I don't know, Gabe, if you have any.
Yeah, I would say that it's very similar to what you said as well too, and just sharing whatever information that you have as far as rent reliefs, any type of loan repayment programs that you have, any articles that saying, even just tax-wise, capital gain tax extension and things like that. Some of my landlords would ask information. I might not be able to find that type of information, but just forwarding information that way is just kind of just helping them out and figuring out, just staying with them and things like that there.
Right.
Anybody else have anything to add before we move to the last question? All right. How are you using this time to prepare for when the market returns? Me, I'm just, trying to learn new things about the market and try to make myself useful to other people and other clients and other agents in the office. I created a website for myself. When I was having a conversation with another agent at CORFAC, they were saying that they had, I want to say 25 different websites that lead back to their own website, and trying to be able to track different things. So I was just trying to, figure out different things. So I created a Squarespace website, went on YouTube, figured out how to create all that. Also too, just learning different things about the market in general, and maybe a different field. I'm mostly a multifamily agent and more investment style sales, but just kind of learning a little bit more about leasing, and especially spending time on these different Zoom calls as well too. Just just relearning the wheel and making myself more useful in different atmosphere and things like that.
Yeah, I'm trying every morning read up on what's going on in the market and the economy, and just to have some sort of as much insight as possible as to how things are going, what businesses are being affected, which ones are sometimes thriving in this market. And I'm assuming most of you do, and if not, I would highly encourage having some sort of database where you're tracking buildings and owners and tenants. And I've used this time to really tighten up my database in a lot of ways, sending out mailers, and sort of getting prepared for having those contact lists where you can quickly send out email blasts to certain groups, letters to certain people, because it's easy to sort of let that fall by the wayside and not keep it updated, but it's very valuable to have. I mean, it's just, information. And so now's a great time to keep that updated and kind of refresh the information so that it's relevant, and especially, when in the next couple months to be able to continue to send emails and letters and any sort of marketing pieces to have that available is helpful.
Yeah, and also I use different sites like Prospect Now to get like emails and things like that from email owners. Different sites for phone numbers as well too, that when it gets a little bit more softer, to be able to email some things out and just add to your list, see what emails bounce back, to see what some clean up lists and things like that. Same thing with phone numbers. So when I do kind of get back into the swing of calling and things like that, just kind of get ready for those things as well too. Does anybody else have any other tips in preparedness for the market return?
Yeah, I think just piggybacking off Tyler and Gabe, maintaining and updating and cleaning out my my CRM tends to be one of the last things, or really not a high priority in the day to day. So now's a great time to, exactly what Tyler said, go in, make your list, keep it clean, make sure all the contact information is updated, and just staying on top of that, because now's the time, I feel like. So
yeah.
And if I could just add something, Tyler and Gabe, Christy mentioned it earlier, and as did I, and there's a lot of really good resources within the CORFAC website toolbox. So I encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. And make sure you tell Dave Pryor, Tyler, that I'm about to quote him. Okay. So one of my favorite lines I've heard from many members since I've been here is, Dave always said he uses CORFAC as his board of directors. And the reason I'm saying that is there's also a mechanism within the CORFAC database or website where you can send information to all of CORFAC. You can whittle it down to industrial folks, office, SIORs, however you want to do it. So if you have a general question, you have a specific question, you're able to do that. So just
yeah, that's great.
Discussion.
I don't know if anyone has any final questions or comments, or wants to share any information, success stories right now, any experiences in the last couple months. Obviously it's been a different time.
And Allison just sent something out. Allison, I don't know if you want to expand on it, but I'll read it. It was in the chat. It says, I send a form out to contacts so they can choose which types of emails they would like to receive regarding property type location. I used FormStack to build this form, and she provided a link for that. So along with this recording, we will also send out any questions that came through the chat feature.
Yeah, that just helps with my email segmenting. So if you're going through your contacts right now, you can send them a link to your form, or just even organize it. You can use the categories I used, but it just helps when you're sending out different emails to make sure you're getting the right audience. So I'm organizing our list over the.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So when you get a submission, it emails you. And then once I get a submission, I'll go into my constant contact and just update it there.
Huh. Very cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, unless there's any final questions or comments, thanks everyone for joining. Jonathan or Gabe, if you have any final comments, but appreciate your guys' time. Hopefully it was informative and helpful, and good to see some of you I haven't seen in a couple months. And
I would just say thanks everybody for being here. We're trying to do these type of programs at least once a week. And if you have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions of future programs that we can do that are value to you, we'll do our best to pull it together.
Yeah. And it's also recorded too. So if there's any other Next Gen or any other agents that you might think that might want to hear this information as well, definitely forward I know there's a couple younger guys in our office as well too, so I'm probably make sure they watch this. So if you guys have any other agents in your office, make sure they forward it to you.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
See you guys later.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.